am getting married this coming spring. I've got a cousin named Rose, also 25F, who was around a lot growing up. Her mother, my aunt, is my mother's sister and they've always been super close, and my mom adores Rose and her siblings for some reason and we spent a lot of holidays and summers together when we were growing up. The thing is, Rose is crazy. Her brothers are fine, but Rose is crazy. Every time we were together she would have a meltdown and throw a temper tantrum if things didn't go her way and never made any sense. She would throw fits if we went to the beach, but also if she didn't go to the beach, she even broke some of my stuff. She just seems like a very unstable girl. We stopped spending so much time together when Rose's dad got a job in a different state and they moved away and couldn't afford to fly back as frequently. It's been a while, and I still follow her on social media. She posts a lot about mental health stuff. She goes by a new name, has a new look, and she's even dating some guy. But I don't think it's authentic. I think she's trying to reinvent herself because she used to be such a brat and is trying to make people forget how she used to treat them. I'm pretty sure she is BPD. This Christmas was at my mom's house and my fiancé and I figured that we would hand out the wedding invites there and not risk them getting lost in the mail. Most people at Christmas got one, but Rose, naturally, wasn't invited. I don't want her ruining our special or anything. She was pretty mellow and was talking about her new job and stuff. She came up and told me that she noticed that her brothers had gotten an invite but I had forgotten to give her one. I told her I didn't think she would want to come, since when we used to get together nothing seemed right for her. She seemed really taken aback, apologized for how she used to act because she had a lot of stuff to deal with, and said she was sorry that I didn't think she couldn't change from when she was a kid. I held firm because this is the first time she's ever apologized to me for how she tried to ruin stuff and I think she was just trying to manipulate me into getting her way like she always used to. Her family realized that she had never gotten an invite, and one of her brothers called and asked why his sister wasn't invited. I reiterated that I didn't feel comfortable with a mentally unstable woman at my wedding and he got angry and said that I was stupid for being mad at something that happened so fucking long ago and that I was being ridiculous and bigoted and said he didn't want to come either and hung up. Then Rose's mom called my mom and said that if her daughter was the only family member not invited that she wasn't going to attend. Now my mom is upset that her sister and nibblings, her word, aren't coming and begged me to just invite Rose. But you can't fully cure mental illness, and I don't want her coming and smashing my cake or something. Ida? Oop. Look, if one day I decided to shave my head and change my name to something completely different and demand people now call me this new name, it would look like I had some sort of mental break. I don't know why people think that this is a stable thing to do. It seemed way more violent and not typical. Random things would set her off, like once she went into her room and pulled off the heads of all her Barbies, and one of mine because we were playing together earlier, and another time at her birthday she was really happy opening presents and then she unwrapped a new dress my mom got her and started crying and wouldn't tell anyone why she didn't like it. She was fine at Christmas, but since I don't know what triggers her I don't want to risk it happening at my wedding. Update 1. I, 25F, am getting married in several months. Sorry if this sounds convoluted. I'm really stressed over this whole thing and it's sometimes hard to keep my thoughts together. It's a long story, but there's been some drama about me not inviting my cousin, also 25F, that spiraled into family drama, and now her parents and brothers are threatening to pull out if I don't invite her. I don't want my cousin there because she is mentally ill, I believe BPD, and I have had very bad experiences with her when we grew up together, and I don't believe she has truly improved the way she acts like she has. I feel like she could be a potential threat to my wedding, and I don't want all the attention to be on her having a breakdown, or her trying to smash my cake or interrupt my vows. But my mother, who is very close with her mother and her, is also threatening to pull funding because I'm acting ridiculous for not inviting all of her nibblings. It's causing so much drama, and with my aunt and my mother deciding to take back the offer of money, I wouldn't be able to fully pay for the venue we already have booked. The invites were given out about a month ago, and I'm surprised and disappointed that the drama hasn't blown over since then. I got advice on Reddit before that suggested extra security to shadow my cousin specifically. It looked like that was the only way to keep this venue, so I brought it up with my fiancé and he said he was fine with hiring someone, or even having one of his relatives shadow her the entire time and make sure she didn't try anything. So I mentioned it to my mother, but she didn't like the idea. She says my cousin isn't a threat, and I'm being awful towards her. I tried to explain that, rationally, it was the best option. My cousin is a mentally ill woman, and I doubt the venue would appreciate us inviting someone with a known history of destruction and meltdowns. This way, she can have her nieces and nephews and sister at the wedding and I can have slightly more peace of mind. I'm trying to maintain this bone, Dari, but my mom still insists that I'm being awful for some reason. I'm just trying to maintain the peace while feeling safe at my own wedding. Ida? Edit, this post is getting brigaded. I would like it if you would stop baselessly speculating on my cousin's sexuality and implying that I'm a bad person because of it. Edit 2. For everyone implying that my mother is fully funding my wedding, that isn't true. She is contributing a significant amount, but I did not ask her to. She offered. If I had known that the money came with strings attached I would have chosen a cheaper venue when planning. Pulling out now would lose my deposit, which I paid for, and cause me to have to do a lot of rescheduling and replanning. I'm not going to give in and let some psycho ruin me and my fiancé's day. To those recommending I go low or no contact with my mother, That isn't an option. I love her and she loves me, and I'm not going to destroy our relationship because of some psycho. You're being entitled, rude and manipulative. I read your post and I remember you from a previous post where you handed out invites to your wedding in front of her, which was completely uncalled and callous of you. You're justing someone who you haven't seen for years for things they did as a child. How would you like every mistake you've made held against you? As this rate you'll be lucky if you have any family left attending your wedding. Uda Pete Friend 86 Nah. I can't be sure if your mother is dismissive or if you're overly alert. What I can be sure of is the fact that you're under your mother's thumb as long as you let her hold funding over your head. Fit Humor 5022 Op isn't paying for this at all. Mom Shal will take away the money if Op does this. Op is just an entitled brat. I wouldn't be able to fully pay for the venue we already have booked. Oop, my mother thinks that she has changed, but I think she's too easily trusting. I last saw my cousin at Christmas, and my mom pointed out that my cousin had apologized. Then, but she only apologized after she realized she had not been invited to the wedding. She never apologized before about how she used to treat me. She also seems to have had some sort of breakdown a year ago. She had a radical change in her appearance, shaved her head, and changed her name. Our family thinks it's fine and brave or whatever, but it just reminded me of Britney Spears doing the same thing during her breakdown. I stopped replying to my Ada post because it was clear that it was being brigaded and people even linked the subreddit that was brigading. I keep getting harassing messages on my other post and through private messages, so I see that people are stalking my profile as well. People are making assumptions about me and my feelings towards the LGBT community and transgenderism that are irrelevant to my post about my cousin. My cousin is female and mentally ill. My cousin is not a man and has never told me that she thinks she's a man. I think that a woman is allowed to want to feel safe and secure at her own wedding without misogynistic slurs being thrown at her and being forced to accommodate mental illness at a celebration that is not for the mentally ill woman. I am not going to elope and I am not going to cancel. I know my mother loves me, even if she also likes my cousins, and would not abandon me. My fiancé stands by me no matter what and agrees with my stance on the whole thing. I appreciate all the actual advice I've received. My cousin will be invited to placate my mother, and I've told her that I will invite her and not hire security. My fiancé's cousin will shadow her the entire time if she makes it into the venue. She will not be allowed to bring A+1 and invite her boyfriend/girlfriend. If she does not stick to the dress code, she will not be allowed in. The dress code is simple and already established, a formal or semi-formal dress for female guests and a suit for male guests, all within my wedding colors. It's pretty standard for weddings, so if she can't manage that then oh well, I can tell my mother I tried to accommodate her background. I'm getting married this spring. Around Christmas I sent out the invites to the family I wanted there, but did not invite a female cousin of mine, Rose, because I did not get along with her when we were growing up together and I haven't seen her in a long time. I didn't want her there, and I didn't think she would want to attend anyway. She's a bit of a tomboy, and I doubt she'd want to put on a dress and spend the day at a fancy party with us, but my mother is very close to her mother, they're really close in age, and both of them were contributing money to help fund my wedding for the venue I wanted and already have booked. Because I didn't invite her daughter, my aunt said she was not attending along with Rose's brothers and would not help pay for the wedding. It wasn't a lot of money, so I could eat the cost for that, but then my mom got upset that her sister and niece and nephews wouldn't attend, and is threatening to not pay unless I invite Rose and apologize for snubbing her. At first I was really stubborn, but I don't want to switch venues and catering this late into the planning because it would delay, so I bit the bullet and sent Rose an invite. But I never got a response from her, and I wanted to check if she at least received the invite. I wanted to show my mom that she was choosing not to go, so I reached out to one of her brothers. But he was very verbally abusive. I uploaded screenshots of some of the text to my profile so you can see, and immediately he blew up at me and wouldn't even consider listening to me or trying to help me out. He also went into unprovoked and classist attacks on my fiancé. How can I convince my mother to stay on my side, and how can I get Rose to respond to me? I really do want to repair our relationship and have a smooth wedding day. I just feel like everything has been going so well and now this year it's all crumbling at the last minute. Oop, hey, when you get a chance can you text me back? Oop, okay, but you're all invited. I sent, blurred but looks like Rose / an invite, but I haven't heard back. I just want to make sure she got it. Oop, okay, but they treated me like shit for so many years. Can you blame me for being weary about her showing up? Update 2. I appreciate all the people who gave advice on my last post even if they were unnecessarily rude about it. The day after I made my post, Rose finally called me that she had gotten and rejected my invite. She was nasty about it, but she's always been a bit of a brat. She said she didn't care about my wedding and didn't want to be part of more stupid fucking family drama, which I think is hypocritical because she always starts the drama, so she and her brothers and parents aren't attending, and my mom and some other guests are upset at that, but it's all manageable. I went to breakfast with my mom this morning and we sat down and spoke about the wedding. I took advice from my last post and told her that if she continued to favor a cousin over her daughter then I would never speak to her again and she would not be invited to the rescheduled wedding. A lot was said, but she broke down and admitted that she was bluffing and didn't actually want to ruin my big day. She was just upset with how I had acted back around the holidays and hoped that her threat would be a wake-up call. I apologized and acknowledged that I didn't realize how hurtful my actions would have been perceived. She essentially raised me by myself, and I have always tried to live by the values she instilled in me, even if they aren't always popular with others, and I told her this. So the wedding should still be on course. I still have to find the money to make up for what my aunt would have paid, but I don't think it's a lot, and my fiancé will probably be able to cover it. Thank you again for all the advice. I can't really blame him for calling it off, because it was for financial reasons. But I feel like I can't talk to him about it because I'll start saying things that I regret. I was set to get married today. It was great, I had everything planned out perfectly. My venue was on the pricey side, but both my mother and aunt said they would help pay for it to make my wedding perfect. I sent invites months ahead to make sure everyone had time to plan stuff if they needed to travel, and the drama started when I didn't invite my cousin. I grew up with her because our mothers are close, and she is very mentally ill and would always have meltdowns and stuff. Around last year she had a breakdown that everyone seems to ignore now. I'm pretty sure she has BPD, and anyone who knows someone with that will tell you how unstable and unpredictable those people are. So I decided that I didn't want a severely mentally ill woman at my wedding to risk ruining it, and also we weren't that close to begin with and hadn't seen each other for years. I thought everyone would understand that, and it's not like she and I were very close to begin with. It caused a lot of drama and family fighting. My aunt said that if I didn't invite her daughter then she wasn't going to contribute money, and my female cousin's brothers also said that they weren't coming. Then my mom got angry and said that she wasn't going to contribute money if I was going to discriminate against my female cousin. And then other relatives heard that I hadn't invited her because of her mental illness. I didn't even tell anyone it was because of that, just that we weren't close. But I guess she was telling them that I was being bigoted against her because of her illness. I settled things with my mom, who agreed to pay, and I even offered my cousin an invite and apologized for excluding her when I initially sent out the invites. But she brushed me off and said she didn't want to go to my wedding. But my aunt never accepted the apology and still refused to pay. I thought that was fine because my fiancé could make up the difference, and asked my dad if he was willing to contribute more. He divorced my mom when I was a kid and we're not super close anymore because of it, but he still offered some money, but neither of them were able to pitch in anymore, and my savings also aren't enough unless I wanted to completely wipe them out or take out a loan, and I don't think that's a very good financial choice. I want the perfect wedding, but I don't want to go into debt for it. I finally decided to fold and look for another venue, but all of the ones I wanted were booked for the rest of the year. Last month my fiancé told me that we should postpone the wedding for a year so that we find the perfect venue that we can afford. I had to call all my friends and the family members who still wanted to go and basically tell them I was too poor to get married this year. It was humiliating. All of this is because of my cousin, who got pissy that I didn't want her at my wedding, and she doesn't even want to go to the wedding anyway, and did her best to turn my family against me. Update 3. A bit of backstory: we were supposed to get married a few months ago. There was wedding drama that involved a female family member on my side trying to start shit and basically sabotage my wedding because I didn't invite her. She struggles with mental illness, so her throwing a fit wasn't a shocker, but the resulting family drama was. Anyway, it ended up with us not having enough money for my wedding. It was too close to be able to reschedule a venue, so we decided to cut our losses and get married next year instead. We still had a 2-week Mediterranean cruise scheduled as our honeymoon, so he said we should just go on it as a normal vacation to try and unwind after the disaster of a year I've had so far. It was nice. But near the end he got more and more distant, and once we landed back home I joked it was back to wedding planning, and he got very serious. A&D admitted that he doesn't think planning a wedding is a very good idea. He said the family bullshit drama had made him reconsider, and he thought that the cruise would soften the blow. I was crying and said I'd cut off the shitty family members and obviously we would never see the psycho relative ever again. But he said it wasn't just that I had shitty crazy family members, and it's been almost a week since he was last home. He's staying with his brother. I'm numb at this point. Everything's gone off the rails. The cruise actually made me feel worse, like he was just wanted to have fun and was using me for sex before dropping me. I fucking hate all of this. Are you the person who didn't want to invite her supposedly mentally ill cousin whose mother was helping pay for the wedding? That was quite a saga. Because if that's you, he's right, it's not that you have shitty family members, you are the shitty family member. Now on to second story. Disciplined my prankster sister by taking her phone after she nearly got me fired with her tasteless joke at school. I, 27 male, am the guardian of my younger sister, 13F, and I work for the USPS. Lately I've been on a route that delivers mail to the local middle school and high school, and she happens to go there. Today I was at the middle school walking to the main office with the mail, and then suddenly I hear "back away, pedo." And I got really started and looked, and it's my younger sister with her friend. She was laughing and I told her that wasn't funny, and a nearby teacher came over firmly asking what was happening. I frantically explained I was delivering the mail and she was my younger sister who was making a tasteless joke, and my sister was just standing there enjoying the situation. Fortunately the teacher heard me and just told my sister and her friend to get back to class. Before she left I said hey, and she looked and I sternly said give me your phone, and she stopped for a moment and said what? And I told her to give me her phone. She protested at first but I persisted and she gave me her phone and seemed really upset and annoyed as she walked away. I got home this afternoon and she was fucking pissed at me. Finally, I got to have a conversation with her about it and I told her her behavior was completely inappropriate and unacceptable because she very easily could have made me lose my job, which is putting the food in our mouths and clothes on our backs and roof above our heads, just because she wanted a quick giggle. She continued to persist and pulled the "Who do you think you are, my parent?" And I said, "I think I'm the person who pays for your cell phone bill and can easily cancel that phone plan anytime they want." She just walked away and I asked if she was going to eat dinner or should I put it away, and she flipped me off as she went upstairs, to which I called out, "Yeah, okay, I'm keeping your phone another day. My sister is a big ray of hope in my sea of depression and stress and the most important thing in my life and my reason for trudging through this shit job, but holy shit, she can be such a brat sometimes." I'm wondering if maybe I overreacted by taking her phone. Maybe this is a completely separate thing, but sometimes it just feels so weird punishing her. Like I feel I'm the one who's supposed to help get her out of parental punishments rather than the one asserting them. Update 1. I delivered mail at her school yesterday and saw the teacher who was involved in the situation and anxiously asked her if anything was going to come of it. She said she admittedly did have a little talk with her after, and based on what my sister said and what she saw of the situation firsthand, she didn't see a need to report it. But she did say if my sister keeps saying stuff like that, she would feel compelled to report it. I almost dropped to my knees thanking her. So I've been thinking of the whole situation for the past 2 days and have been soul searching or whatever, and decided I'd talk to her again. Now, I worked really late this afternoon and had a pretty draining, upsetting and really hard/heavy day. I got home rather late, but my sister actually stayed up to wait for me and said she wanted to talk to me. She asked if we could sit down and then she told me she was really sorry for saying what she did and she didn't mean to embarrass me or get me fired or anything, and said she was out of line for flipping me off and told me she was sorry for that too, and then she told me she loved me. So I had some stuff I was trying to figure out how to articulate, but she initiated the conversation, so I just threw out what I had even though it was undercooked. I told her I appreciate the apology, but she clearly doesn't understand how serious her joke was. I told her that little joke seriously could have ruined both of our lives, since if the wrong person heard, Child Protective Services would have put her into foster care and forced her to live in some rundown place with, potentially dangerous, people she's never met, and she would be doing so all alone without me, and I'd potentially be facing legal action and without a job, all because she wanted a little giggle. Then I said I really haven't appreciated her attitude as of late and the way she's been talking to me, and I said some of her behavior is completely inappropriate. I used the flipping me off and making that joke as examples, and while I always will be her big brother, I'm also her parent right now. So I told her I was going to limit her screen time/internet time, and to start I made the decision I'm going to be giving her a flip phone. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where all hell broke loose. She just blankly stared at me for a second and said, "What?" and was asking if I was joking and why would I do that. I did my best to stay firm and just said I'm sorry but that's what's gonna happen, and she was begging me and profusely apologizing for her bad attitude, and she asked why I was giving such a harsh punishment for her stupid joke. She actually started crying and I felt horrible and wanted to tell her actually I'll think about it, and I felt like such an asshole for not saying that. But then once she realized I was firm, she switched planes and went into offense mode. She started pinballing between points as to why I can't do this, I'm being controlling, malicious, self-centered, and others, and she also made some cheap and unsavory comments relating to the fact that I recently received an autism diagnosis and questioning the effect that has on my decision-making skills. I think that was the one time I lost my cool in that conversation because I just said ableism. Nice. And she said something ridiculous like, "Is it ableism if you're actually being stupid?" And I nodded, said a well thought out rebuttal. Some more shit was said, but it ended with her literally screaming and saying I was being unreasonable and she hates me before going upstairs. That went about as I expected. I'm just really happy she didn't tell me she wished I was dead again or that she wished she didn't live with me. Pretty low bar, but I was anticipating that. I can live with "I hate you." I don't really have much else to say except God, I can't wait until I can go back to being her brother instead of her parent.